Alrighty, folks, we're now hitting at 75% in our last dozen Gold Club plays on my premium page. We had Mount St. Mary's +3 on Wednesday, and they got the job done for us. And the good news is I've got another Gold Club tier package play going off here for Thursday. That play's already posted and ready for access on my premium page. And if you sign up for that package, that Gold Club package, you're going to get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. It's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to my free pick video here today for Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Happy Thursday to you. First full day of March Madness here, with the main tournament. But anyway, if you're joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I'm extremely tired, absolutely exhausted. But my name is Brock Page. I've been doing free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And of course, if you're on the fence about, signing up for a package, my daily best play costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days worth of access. I currently have over 2,230 members who are signed up and active on my premium page as of right now. With that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're actually going to start off with the High Point Purdue game. We'll get back to this one in a few moments. High Point Purdue, 12:40 Eastern. Tip-off, Purdue's -7.5, totals 153. The Boilermakers are 22-11 on the year, scored a bunch of points over the past few weeks. Purdue averages 80 points. They averaged 80 points a game in their last 5 outings, shooting it well from long distance. Purdue's making nearly 40% of their 3 balls as a team, 6th in the country in field goal percentage. Trey Kaufman-Wren averages 20 points a game, 42% from downtown. And Fletcher Lawyer, he's drilling 46% of his deep balls. And they're facing a High Point squad who's certainly had a good year themselves. They haven't lost a game in a month and a half. But my biggest concern with these guys, well, it's strength of schedule, level of competition they're facing. Not their fault, but, it's not like you're going through the Big Ten grinder, right? I mean, the Panthers have been beating up on teams like Gardner-Webb, South Carolina Upstate, Charleston Southern. So, like I said, not their fault. They don't, they can't control the schedule. But still, I mean, it's no comparison to going through that Big Ten grinder. I think Purdue should be able to run these guys out of the gym. I know High Point's having a great year, but they're not in the same stratosphere as these guys. Give me Purdue -7.5. All right, next game, Montana taking on Wisconsin, 1:30 p.m. East. Wisconsin's -17, totals 151.5. The Badgers are 26-9 on the year. Lots of good stuff on offense out of these guys. For one, they don't turn it over a lot. Top 25 in fewest offensive turnovers. And aside from averaging 80 points a game, Wisconsin is the best free throw shooting school in the nation. They're actually shooting 83% from the line. John Tonje averages nearly 20 points a game, 90% from the stripe. And John Blackwell, he scores 15.5 points a game himself, 81% from the line. And they're facing a Montana team who allows 73 points a game themselves, 287th in defensive field goal percentage. Now, the Grizzlies failed to cover recently against the likes of Portland State, Sacramento State, and Weber State. I like Wisconsin -17. All right, next game, SIU Edwardsville taking on Houston, 2 o'clock Eastern start. Houston's minus 29, totals 126.5. Now, Houston is 30-4 on the year. You know, Edwardsville on the other side, they're 22-11, having a good year. SIU's also covered in 60% of their games this season. They're a tough team to score points against. SIU allows only 66 points a game, top 30 in defensive field goal percentage. And as a team, SIU got the W in 7 out of their last 10. Allowed just 59 points a game in those victories during that span. Now, on the offensive end, SIU's led by Rashawn Taylor, who averages over 19 points a game, 84% from the line. And his teammate Brian Taylor, he's averaging a dozen points a game himself, 47% from downtown. They're facing a Houston team who failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8. They don't get to the foul line a whole lot. Houston's 304th in free throws made per game, like SIU Edwardsville plus 29. All right, next game, Alabama State, Auburn, 2:50 Eastern start. Auburn's minus 32, totals 150. The Tigers are 28-5, top 10 in scoring. And it's not top 10 in the SEC, that's top 10 in the nation in points per game. Janai Broome, he's averaging over 18.5 points per contest, double-digit rebounds a night. And Denver Jones, he shoots 41% from three land, 92% from the stripe. And they're facing a Bama State team who failed to cover recently against the likes of St. Francis, PA, Grambling, Bethune-Cookman. Meanwhile, on the defensive end, the Hornets are nearly in the bottom 10 in defensive boards per game. They're just putting too many shooters to the line. Now, Bama State's currently 301st in free throws allowed per game. Give me Auburn, minus 32, getting the job done against the number. All right, next game, McNeese State, Clemson, 3:15 East. Clemson's minus 7, totals 133.5. Clemson, 27-6 on the year, winners of 9 out of their last 10. And in those 10 contests I just mentioned, the Tigers covered the number in 70% of those games. Clemson averages over 76 points per contest, top 25 in shooting the 3-ball. Chase Hunter scores 16 points per contest, 41% from downtown. And Ian Shiflin, he's averaging a dozen points per contest, 9 rebounds a game. And they're facing a McNeese team who's certainly having a good year, but they did fail to cover in 6 out of their last 10. Failures to cover against the likes of Lamar, Southeastern Louisiana, and New Orleans. When it comes to defensive play, McNeese allows nearly double-digit 3 balls a game, like Clemson, minus 7. Next matchup, Georgia, Gonzaga, 4:35 East. Gonzaga's minus 7, totals 150.5. The Zags are 25-8, but they do have a losing record against the point spread. Georgia on the other side, 20-12 on the year, covered in 5 out of their last 6. When it comes to defensive play, Georgia is 10th in the country in blocks, 21st in guarding the 3-ball. 6'11", Asa Newell has 32 blocks on the year, 219 boards on the season as well. And the 6'11" Nigerian, Samto Cyril, he has 51 big blocks on the year himself. They're facing a Gonzaga team who failed to cover recently against San Francisco, Pacific, and Loyola Marymount. I think Georgia can certainly keep this one within a few scores. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs plus 7. That's the battle of the Bulldogs in that one. All right, next matchup, Wofford, Tennessee, 6:50 p.m. East. Tennessee's minus 19, totals 133. Tennessee 27-7 on the year. Wofford just 19-15. The Terriers have had some problems at the foul line this year. They make just 66% of their free throws, 328th in foul shots made per game. And on the defensive end, the Terriers are allowing nearly double-digit 3 balls a game. They're facing a Tennessee squad who got the W in 7 out of their last 9. They lead the country in defensive field goal percentage. The Vols are limiting their competition to just 38% from the field, 27% from three-land. Tennessee's also 18th in blocks, top 20 in defensive boards. Sorry, guys. Igor Milicic has 228 rebounds on the season, double-digit points a game. And Chaz Lanier averages over 17.5 points per contest himself, 40% from downtown. I like Tennessee minus 19. Next game, Yale, Texas A&M, 725 East. A&M's minus 8, totals 139.5. The Aggies are 22-10 on the year. Yale 22-7 themselves. And more recently, the Bulldogs got the W in 9 out of their last 10. They're 21st in points per game. When it comes to offensive production, the Bulldogs make nearly 40% of their 3 balls, 7th in the nation in field goals per game. John Poulikitis averages nearly 20 points a night, 40% from long range. And Nick Townsend scores 15 points per contest himself, 49% from beyond the arc. They're facing an Aggie team who lost 5 out of their last 7, failed to cover in all of those contests except for 2. Texas A&M also has had issues on offense. They're making only 41% of their attempts from the field, 31% from outside the arc. Give me Yale plus 8. Next matchup, Drake, Missouri, 735 East. Mizzou's minus 6, totals 133. Now, Missouri is 22-11 on the year, winning record against the point spread. When it comes to offensive production, the Tigers have been tough to slow down. They're 8th in points per game, top 20 in field goal percentage. And when it comes to getting to the line, the Tigers are making 20 free throws a game. That puts them in the top 5 in that particular category. Tamar Bates makes 94% of his free throws, 40% from three-land. And Mark Mitchell scores 14 points a game himself, 51% from the field. They're facing a Drake squad who failed to cover in 3 out of their last 5. Failures to cover against the likes of Belmont, Missouri State, and Evansville. When it comes to offensive production, the Bulldogs play at an exceptionally slow pace. Just 6 made 3 balls a game they're averaging. Of course, when it comes to grabbing rebounds, the Bulldogs are 328th in offensive boards. I like Missouri minus 6. Next contest, Utah State, UCLA, 925 East. UCLA's minus 5, totals 144. UCLA is 22-10 on the year, winning record against the point spread. The Bruins have also been incredibly tough on the defensive end of the floor. Just 65 points a game they're giving up, top 20 in defensive turnovers. Of course, on the offensive end of the floor, Tyler Bilodeau, he leads the roster in scoring, 40% from long range. And Eric Daly Jr., he's averaging over 11.5 points a game himself, 40% from downtown. They're facing a Utah State team who lost 3 out of their last 5 themselves. 86 points a game they allowed in those losses during that span. The Aggies are giving up nearly double-digit 3 balls a game on defense. I like UCLA minus 5. All right, next game. Nebraska, Omaha taking on St. John's, 945 East. St. John's is minus 18, totals 148. The Red Storm, they are 30-4 on the year, 68% against the point spread. The Johnnies also got the W in their last 9 straight, top 20 in the nation in guarding the field goal. St. John's allows only 65 points a game on defense, 9th in the nation in blocks. RJ Lewis, he's averaging 18 points a game. Zuby Ejiofor scores over 14.5 points a game himself, 57% from the field. And they're facing an Omaha team who's been lax on defense themselves. 75 points a game they're allowing this year, 305th in defensive turnovers, like St. John's, minus 18. All right, next game, UC San Diego taking on Michigan, 10 o'clock East. Michigan's -2, totals 142.5. Michigan, 25-9 on the year, winners of their last 3 straight. The Wolverines are holding their competition at just 40% from the field, 31% from three-land. And on the offensive end, the Wolverines are scoring over 78 points a game, 26th in offensive boards. Vlad Golden, he's averaging over 16.5 points a game, 62% from the field. And 7-foot junior Devin Wolf, he's averaging double-digit boards a game, 50% from the field. And as good as UC San Diego's been, we're not going to take nothing away from them. They had a great year. This is a really good basketball team, but they did fail to cover recently against UC Davis and Long Beach State. And of course, you've got the, disparity between strength of schedule. It's just, they haven't played the level of competition that Michigan has week in and week out. Not their fault, but it is what it is. I like Michigan -2. All right. Next and final breakdown with regard to the sides, picking a winner. Stay tuned, though, because we got a whole boatload of totals we're about to cover here in just a moment. But anyway, UNC Wilmington taking on Texas Tech. That's going to be a 10:10 Eastern tip-off. Texas Tech is -14, totals 142. The Red Raiders are 25-8, winners of 7 out of their last 10. They're averaging 81 points a game, top 25 in shooting it from three-land. JT Toppin scores 18 points a game, 54% from the field. And Chance McMillian and Christian Anderson, they're shooting well over 40% from three-land combined. And they're facing a UNC Wilmington team who failed to cover recently against Delaware, Charleston, and Elon. I like Texas Tech, -14. And with that, we're going to break down some totals here. And like I said earlier, we were going to get back to this Creighton game in just a moment. We got a premium selection going off in this game, so that's why we didn't give a side. But anyway, let's take a look at it. Creighton, Louisville, 12:15 Eastern start. Louisville's -2.5, totals 145 and a hook. Now, the Cards saw unders in 6 out of their last 9. Unders against the likes of Duke, Cal, and Pitt. And when it comes to defensive play, the Cardinals limit opposing teams to just 68 points a game. Creighton, on the other side, they saw unders recently against UConn and Xavier. When it comes to defensive play, the Blue Jays are allowing only 7 made free throws a game. That is second lowest in college basketball. Doing a great job staying out of foul trouble. I like the under 145.5. All right, next contest. Once again, revisiting this High Point Purdue matchup. 12:40 Eastern tip-off. Purdue 7.5, total 153. The Boilermakers with overs in 4 out of their last 5. 6th in the country in offensive field goal percentage. Purdue's making nearly 50% of their attempts from the field. Meanwhile, High Point with overs recently against Radford and UNC Asheville. They're averaging over 82 points a game themselves, top 10 in field goal percentage. I like the over 153. Next game, Montana, Wisconsin, 1:30 p.m. East. Wisconsin's -17, totals 151.5. The Badgers with overs in 5 out of their last 9, throwing out that Michigan contest. Wisconsin scoring 80 points a game, best free throw shooting school in the nation. Meanwhile, Montana contests went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. They're making over 50% of their attempts from the field as a team. I like the over 151.5. Next game, SIU Edwardsville taking on Houston, 2 o'clock East. Houston's 29, totals 126.5. Houston games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. First in the country in defensive scoring. Houston allows an NCAA low 58 points a game. Just 19 field goals allowed per contest. That's also best in college basketball. Meanwhile, SIU with unders in their last 2 straight, allowing only 66 points per contest. I like the under 126.5. Next game, Bama State, Auburn, 2:50 p.m. East. Auburn's minus 32, totals 150. Tiger games went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. 11th in the country in field goals made. Auburn's currently averaging 84 points per contest. Meanwhile, Alabama State on the other side, they've seen overs recently against St. Francis, PA, and Texas Southern. When it comes to shooting the long ball, Bama State averages nearly double-digit 3 balls a game. I like the over 150. Next matchup, McNeese State taking on Clemson, 3:15 Eastern start. Clemson is minus 7, totals 133.5. Clemson games went 60% to the over in their last 10. Top 25 in shooting it from 3 land. Meanwhile, McNeese with overs recently in 5 out of their last 8 themselves. They're averaging over 77 points per game. I like the over 133.5. Next contest, VCU taking on BYU, 4:05 East. Brigham Young's minus 2.5, totals 146 and a hook. BYU with unders recently against Houston, West Virginia, and Kansas State. The Cougs are 15th in defensive boards per game. Meanwhile, VCU with unders in 5 out of their last 9. Just 62 points a game they're allowing this season. I like the under 146.5. All right, next contest, Georgia, Gonzaga, 4:35 East. Gonzaga's minus 7, totals 150.5. Now, the Zags saw overs in 3 out of their last 4. They're first in the country in field goals made. Meanwhile, Georgia games went 7-3 to the over in their last 10 themselves. 76 points per contest for those guys. I like the over 150.5. Next game, Wofford, Tennessee, 6:50 p.m. East. Tennessee's minus 19, totals 133. The Vols saw unders recently against Auburn, Alabama, and LSU. They currently have the lowest defensive field goal percentage in college basketball. Wofford with unders recently against East Tennessee State, Samford, and Mercer. The Terriers allow only 69 points a game. I like the under 133. All right, next contest, Arkansas taking on Kansas, 7:10 Eastern start. Kansas is minus 5, totals 145. The Jayhawks saw overs in their last 3 straight, 6-2 to the over in their last 8. And oddly enough, on the other side, Arkansas games went 6-2 to the over in their last 8 themselves. I like the over 145. Next matchup, Yale, Texas A&M, 7:25 East. Texas A&M's minus 8, totals 139.5. Now the Aggies with unders in 5 out of their last 9, throwing out that Texas game. The Aggies are currently 13th in field goals allowed per contest. Meanwhile, Yale games went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Top 20 in defensive field goal percentage. I like the under 139.5. Next matchup, Drake, Missouri, 7:35 East. Mizzou's -6, totals 133. Missouri games went 8-1 to the over in their last 9. Top 10 point producing team. Meanwhile, Drake with overs recently against Missouri State, Evansville, and Illinois State. Drake's currently 21st in offensive field goal percentage. I like the over 133. Next matchup, Utah State, UCLA, 925 East. UCLA is -5, totals 144. The Bruins with overs in their last 4 straight. 75 points a game they're averaging on offense. Meanwhile, Utah State games went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. They're 8th in the country in shooting from the field. I like the over 144. Next contest, Omaha, St. John's, 945 East. St. John's is -18, totals 148. The Johnnies with overs in 5 out of their last 9, throwing out that DePaul game. The Red Storms currently 20th in field goals made per contest. Meanwhile, Omaha games went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. They're averaging over 78 points per contest. I like the over 148. Next matchup, UC San Diego taking on Michigan, 10 o'clock Eastern tip. Michigan's -2, totals 142.5. Michigan contest went 4-3 to the over in their last 7. Over 78 points a game they're averaging on offense. Meanwhile, the Tritons on the other side, they saw overs against UC Irvine and Cal State Fullerton. They're drilling 11 three-pointers a game. I like the over 142.5. And with that, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. UNC Wilmington taking on Texas Tech. That'll be a 10-10 Eastern tip-off. Texas Tech's -14, totals 142. Texas Tech with overs recently against Baylor, Colorado, and Kansas. Double-digit 3 balls a game they're making. Meanwhile, UNC Wilmington with overs against Hampton, Campbell, and Elon. Wilmington averaging nearly 80 points a game. I like the over 142. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our quick pick recap. I like Purdue -7.5, Wisconsin -17, SIU Edwardsville +29, Auburn -32, Clemson -7, Georgia +7, Tennessee -19, Yale +8, Missouri -6, UCLA -5, St. John's -18, Michigan -2, Texas Tech -14. Totals under 145.5, Creighton, Louisville. Over 153, High Point, Purdue. Over 151.5, Montana, Wisconsin. Under 126.5, SIU Edwardsville taking on Houston. Over 150, Bama State, Auburn. Over 133.5, McNeese, Clemson. Under 146.5, VCU-BYU. Over 150.5, Georgia, Gonzaga. Under 133, Wofford, Tennessee. Over 145, Arkansas, Kansas. Under 139.5, Yale, Texas A&M. Over 133, Drake, Missouri. Over 144, Utah State, UCLA. Over 148, Omaha, St. John's. Over 142.5, UC San Diego, Michigan. Give me the over 142 in that UNC Wilmington, Texas Tech matchup. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium site, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks, you know, that Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that, folks, happy Thursday to you. Happy March Madness to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.